I think the industry right now is challenged because we have a range of different ways to buy CTV, OTT, linear TV, and we're looking for ways that we can consolidate the data signals across these different ecosystems to create a better, more pleasant viewing experience for audiences. And, being able to find that positive moment of truth across all is still something that we continue to work on to ensure that we're not hitting someone over the head 15 times in one TV session. And when I say TV, I mean TV as a consumer would see it, which is anything really on their large screen, and making sure that we're providing a positive ad experience for them. I think some of the challenges that we face with that is that we still have a very convoluted marketplace, and a lot of different people sell a lot of the same channels, which means that we're not getting that single point of view in some cases across the marketplace, which can lead to frustration. It can lead to an overburdening of for the consumer, but also a bad experience for an advertiser too. You're not getting the efficiencies that you want, and if anything, you're getting a negative sentiment off the back of it. So I think, we've been doing a lot of work in terms of how do we demystify the marketplace? How do we make sure that we're taking that duplication out of the market? And how do we start looking at the data signals that we have and try and identify in a respectful way an individual's experience through this ecosystem, and how we try and optimize it for not only the brand, but also for the customer themselves. I have to say there's been some really interesting innovations as it comes to looking at data for creativity and the effect of that within social video as well as traditional video. And it's interesting because I feel like for years we've been talking about data infused creativity, but we're really seeing it now in market. We've been doing work with our attention economy work stream with research partners such as T-Vision to look at the attentive seconds and the type of environments that we really find drive attention for audiences. And that's based on eye tracking data. So we can genuinely see if someone is actually looking at a screen versus just being present in a room versus, the actual advert playing, but no one being present. And the thing that's interesting around that is it does show sort of average seconds, even in particular environments. And really, we need to continue to do the digging around then what is the optimum message that needs to be shown during a time frame that we know that most people are going to see it versus just the time that is available. So to unpack that a little bit, if you can see that that someone is most attentive at second 1 or 2, quite similar to social video, how do you make sure that you're driving that impact through TV? So you're not just providing a big reveal at second 30 when someone may not be looking and someone may not actually be engaging with the content itself. We've seen really interesting research from our digital players as well, similarly. And because of this, we've forged a partnership with technology providers that can actually, by second, frame by frame, unpack what is being shown at a particular time during that social video, and then identify what do we think are the key triggers that is providing us with the optimized outcome that we're looking for. And because of that, we can then start looking at reports to say, this needs to be bigger. You need to focus on this person within the frame more. You need to, pump up this logo by X%, and actually create these kind of micro tweaks to the creativity to really bolster then the media outcome. And it's fascinating that we now have these tools at our disposal. And it's something that we continue to dig into at Dentsu, because we continue to see that it has such a huge impact on the effectiveness of your campaigns. So attention overall as a work stream continues to be very interesting for us. But I think I'm most excited about the fact that we have tangible outcomes and tools for clients to be able to use to maximize the effect of their video.
What's the future of cross-platform video investment and planning?
I mean, we still look at a range of ecosystems that continue to become more and more closed off. You look at what Google is continuing to, create an ecosystem whereby, Google can unlock the power of Google through Google. You find that there are other players that are continuing to build up their walls as well. So we will need, as agencies, to look at these translation points across the media that is a little bit more open and are, building out sort of industry-wide tools to have a better performance across each of their platforms, and then how we factor that into some of the other players that we work with that, you know, are fundamentals to a media plan as well, but that maybe have a slightly more restricted access to creating that translation point. So agencies will continue to work out how we can build tools, you know, whether it is things like, you know, we have reach planners that allow us to really understand where that incremental reach is coming from as we continue to add additional media to a media mix. But the holy grail will still be around how we identify individuals in a very respectful way, and obviously in a privacy first way. And to be fair with that, we'll find that it will be less around the individual and more around the outcome and the context. So I think what we're going to move away from is this idea of having to speak to, you know, Joe Schmo in a particular town and know everything about them, but understand that we have a qualified lead in a particular area and we know that these might be their trigger points, and that should be enough information that we need to be able to get to the outcome that we're looking for.
Sarah, so tell us about some innovation in terms of making the ad experience more immersive, more special. What are some technologies that you find interesting?
Yeah, this is a huge area for passion for me, Andy, and I'm so excited to see the level of innovation that's taking place at the moment. And I think the pandemic has in some ways helped with accelerating that innovation and clients' openness to it. So post-production integration is something that I think will continue to be really big. We famously heard from Hulu that they have said that 50% of their ad revenue is likely to come from non-traditional ad formats. And what I mean by that is, you know, this sense of surrounding the content versus potentially being part of the content itself. So that can be anything from, say, ad-supported productions themselves, but also I think the technology I'm most excited around is this idea of 3D objects that have been added to a video post-production. It's essentially like an overlay technology, and it will identify key moments where it would seem natural for an object or an advert to be placed into a video, and allows for, I think, a more seamless way for a brand to be visible without necessarily being an interruptive force. I think that's going to be incredibly interesting, and we see some, you know, well-established players and some newer players in the market, but we're really excited about what that opportunity can lead for our clients. And I think what we're seeing as well is a lot of the impact of shoppable video, live, even the idea of then computer vision being able to identify different objects within a video and then making that more accessible for consumers to identify what that is and buy it directly on the screen is really awesome. So for anyone unfamiliar, if you ever watch a film on a connected TV and you kind of scroll down to be like, who's the actor? What have they been in? And you get all of that information. Think of something similar to that, but for the objects that you see within that scene, and it will actually be able to be a shoppable experience for you. So I just think there's some really exciting technology that will really allow for that moment of brand to be really connected to that moment of content or purchase, which is great.